So, interesting interaction during that budget forecast meeting. One of the reporters asked Lightfoot about a fundraiser she held earlier in the week, basically trying to get a feel for whether or not she plans to run for reelection. Now, she did the whole usual politician thing where they say, "Oh, I'm focused on the job right now. And of course, I'm not going to talk about my plans, yada, yada, yada." But the fact of the matter is, clearly, she's building up her war chest. And she mentioned that basically she plans to talk about what the future is going to hold with her family and make a decision about whether or not she's going to seek reelection. To me, when I look at it, it's obvious she's going to seek reelection. Like, if you're the type of person who is even going to try to become mayor, you're not interested in being a one term mayor. Nobody is. Like, I can't think of anybody who really fought to be in that position and then just left or just folded. Like, no, you fight, you try to get to that second term, and then if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But at least you gave it your all. But it brings me back to something I've said again and again and again and again. Where is the base? Who is voting for her? Who? I just am I blind? Am I is there something that I'm not seeing? Like, it's clear. She specifically said, "You people in the media keep saying that the sky is falling and that my political career is done, blah, blah, blah." And she said it in a way where she felt like they were lying. She felt like they were making fabrications about the situation that revolves around her right now. And I'm like, you can't possibly be this blind to what's going on. Like, who are you appealing to with these decisions that you've made? I don't know. Do you feel differently? Hudson, do you feel like there's a group out there that is going to turn up on election day?
I mean, I guess it depends on I don't even know when the election is coming up, but I guess it depends on.
Statewide first before we get to the mayor.
Say that again.
We got a statewide election first before we get to the mayor election.
So statewide elections is this year coming up, and then
Yeah. So next year,
so next year for her,
next year for statewide.
next year for statewide, and so when
hmm
does hers come up? Is that 2 years from then?
I I don't remember, to be honest. It can't be 2 years, no. So it's the year after next at the latest, but I
Okay.
don't specifically remember when.
You know, I mean, I guess it depends on, I'm guessing she's going to be banking on that recovery from this COVID is gonna happen, and then that she can do a lot of stuff, in between then, because voters, I mean, it's what have you done for me lately? So if she can pop in there
Right.
with some good stuff coming up lately, maybe she could pull it out. And I mean, we've seen worse mayors that have continued to get reelection. I mean, but granted, they had a clear backing
Base.
from clear, individuals. So, I'm with
S-
you. I don't know where it's going to come from.
Speaking of the city recovering from COVID, they came out, the Chicago health officials came out with an official communication today saying that Lollapalooza was not a super spreader event. Who believes that? Who actually saw the photos of all those thousands of people walking around maskless and believes that somehow, some way, magically, COVID did not spread from this?
Now I
It's
got to
crazy.
ask, what do they consider a spreader event? Now I need to know what do you document as a spreader event?
It's political, bro. It's all, and this is the problem when folks keep saying, you gotta believe the scientists, follow the scientists. What happens when you feel like the scientists are beholden to the politicians?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's this no way you can responsibly come out and say that nonsense. Say that not. We know. We're looking at it and we know these cases keep rising. Don't tell me that the cases are rising because people are going to the restaurant, but all those folks going to Lollapalooza, oh no, 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 they were all wearing that mask. Come on, man. Come on.
Well, here's something else, right? So we're talking about mask mandates, super spreaders, things like that. And we're
Mhm.
talking about people we don't know where her base is. Here's a place where she has no base right now: teachers, right? That I mean, schools are about to start back, and they just talked about now, somewhere within this budget, Lightfoot had originally committed that they were going to do testing or have testing available for all students along with staff during this school year. And she
Mhm.
supposedly in this budget walked that back. So, 5 days later, after they announced that she was going to support teachers, staff, and students being fully tested when needed, she walked it back and said it's going to depend on where the numbers are and what neighborhood it's in and how bad that particular neighborhood might be. So she's walked that back. And now the teachers are, it sounds like they might try to get in an uproar again. Like, wait a minute,
Of course.
what are we
Of
supposed to do?
course.
And the
They're
school
gonna be
year is
livid.
about to start now. And of course, who's getting hit hard by this variant? Children.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. It's
you know,
craziness.
I mean,
It's
she is
craziness.
literally pissing everybody off
Mhm.
everywhere. I mean, she did not start good with the teachers, and she is continuing to just keep down that track. Um, she is not doing well with police. She is continuing down the same track. She's not doing well with the people. She's continuing down the same track. I don't know. I think she thinks that this whole "I'm not with anybody" is going to make people see her as this unbiased, you know,
And it's not even that. She's with the uber rich. There was just an article in the Sun Times, what I think last week, that she facilitated the wedding for the grandson of the Kennedys.
mm,
So, and the article kind of alluded that she's getting closer ties with them, which is, of course, going to open up more money streams for her and will hopefully help keep her in power or at least ensure that she's going to have a job when she gets out of office. And it's just so frustrating to me. Like when I looked at that photo in the Sun Times, it just looked to me like one of those black people selling their own people downriver so that they could get in close with these uber rich folks who are perfectly comfortable ensuring that we stay in the same position that we've been in within this city since I don't know how long.
well, the Kennedys are what, DNC royalty.
Basically.
So I mean, you're not gonna run for mayor and win if you don't have some type of DNC backing. I mean, unless
Hmm.
you are super super rich. I mean,
Hmm.
unless you had a DNC with you with some kind of backing, I mean, you're not winning it. So,
Hmm.
it stands to reason she goes with this, helps with this event,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden she's looking at running for office. Because I could have sworn that she was the one kind of making it seem like she might not run again.
Mhm.
So I didn't think that really came from somewhere. I believe she was kind of
Hmm.
insinuating that, but now all of a sudden
Nope.
she
She's ready to
so
fight back.
that link is definitely there. So
Mhm.
I would question whether she had DNC backing before that event, before she was able to get in front of the Kennedys and talk to them,
Mhm.
and versus after, where now she feels, I think, more confident to go after reelection.
Yeah. I don't know, but I think these last year and a half is going to be very, very interesting to see how she tries to pull together a base and pulls together support behind her reelection. And I think
Well,
it also
well,
think
I
it'd
mean,
also be interesting to see if Preckwinkle tries to go run forward again. Like again, I don't see how we could get. I think it's going to be years before we get another black woman in the office. But I don't see. Also, don't see any reason for Preckwinkle not to take another crack at it.
here's a very unfair thing. Who could have predicted COVID was going to happen and just kind of just jump right into her?
Hmm.
Maybe everything she had planned would have been just fine had COVID not shown up, but it did. but
Right.
it did. And so it'll stand to reason. I mean, I mean, she talked about a lot about that during her talks during this
Mhm.
budget thing. So, I mean, is that going to be the blame? Is that going to be the we would have done this? I mean,
Right.
it's almost like a coach who's trying to stay with the team. You know, Matt
Mhm.
Nagy with the Bears. I could have been a great coach if Mitchell Trubisky wasn't my quarterback. Um,
Basically.
is that what it's going to be? It seemed like we're a
Mhm.
city of making excuses as opposed to the city of hardworking people we're supposed to be.